Hello, I'm Jeffrey Holmes. I will be discussing communication and the process of interpersonal communication and doing a discussion on the noise that interferes with communication. We'll talk about some other examples of noise that I've experienced in communication. So communication is according to what Professor Aguas shared in the video, this definition is a systematic process in which individuals interact with and use symbols to create and interpret meaning, okay? So communication is a process. It's a simple but also complex process. There are symbols, there's tone, there's all sorts of different there's different aspects of communication. So we have to look into all of those because all of those will determine whether communication is efficient and effective. In the reading, it alludes to how effective communication, it's effective when what the message is relayed and understood. The intended meaning is fully understood by the receiver. However, sometimes we want to be very efficient with communication by, let's say that I just send an email to a big group of people, press send, boom. It was efficient for me because as the sender, I was able to just write the email, press send. I communicated in essence. But if I have a situation where I have a group that may not look at their emails very often, or if I'm trying to communicate something that needs to happen relatively quickly, well, they may not get around to their emails in time for it to receive the message in the manner it needs to receive. So, although it was efficient, it was not effective because it didn't get to the recipient and it wasn't able to be ultimately understood. So effective communication is communicated in a way where it can be understood by the receiver. So the process in communication is very simple. There's a sender and there's a receiver. And then in between those two is a feedback channel or a communication channel. So like a communication channel is kind of like imagine it's like a river and the sender's riding a boat over and to get to the other side to the receiver. I guess that's one analogy I just came up with. But in that river is noise, rocks and barriers and other things that get in the way that make it difficult, that may frustrate the signal, if you will, to get from the sender to receiver. So there are different types of communication. Of course, there's verbal communication, there's nonverbal communication, what you say without saying it in your body language, your tone, and all those things. There's written communications like in emails and text messages, but that could be also misinterpreted too, because sometimes it's harder to read the tone in an email. Like if you put all caps in a message, and it makes it seem like you're yelling at them, even though you technically aren't yelling, you are writing in caps. So there's different methods of communication, I would say, that are appropriate for a different time, okay? But it must be understood or encoded by the receiver. So in businesses, there's this term in the reading called baffle gab. I've heard of that, but I haven't heard of that actually, I'm sorry. I heard of business jargon, where someone says a whole lot of nothing, a whole lot of something without really saying nothing, right? It's like, well, we are going to bring alignment by changing our systemic processes in order to to integrate different ways, blah, 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 right? I can't even do it on purpose, but when you use all that business jargon, it may sound smart, it may come across a way, but if it wasn't understood by the people you're communicating to, it doesn't amount to anything. So who you're communicating with will determine how you get your message across, okay? So the noise that we want to talk about. So there's different types of noise. Research some different types of noise. And there is, what's the name of this site that I got this from? This was from soundproofcow.com. But they talked about some different type of noise, and there is physical noise, and that's noise that's just in the background, right? Physical noise. Then physiological noise is noise, I believe that's more so um, noise that interferes basically when you yourself are struggling to communicate what is being said. And there's psychological noise when the noise is in your head, you're thinking about different things. Cultural noise when you're of a different culture and you have a different way of communicating that may not be understood. Semantic noise, which is basically what I did with the business jargon, or when you are using words and certain phraseologies or terminology that another person can't put together. So although you're saying it and you yourself understand it, the person you're saying to it does not quite catch what you're trying to say. And there's organizational noise, which is the type of noise that's in an organization that struggles to communicate effectively. Okay, so in the reading, we also understand that, or even in the video discussions, that communication has changed over time. Now we integrate a lot of now digital and video communication and like Zoom, and then he mentioned Marco Polo. All these different types of ways that like it leaves and today like little excuse for there to be miscommunication. I personally believe that you simply have to use the proper channels at the proper time. So in my organization, there's a lot of noise that happens because we work with kids. So sometimes when you're communicating, you literally have to talk to the person face to face because there may be physical noise in the environment. We also, when I first got there, we started using walkies. We didn't use walkies before. And so we invested, it's not that much. We invested in a walkie system in which each staff is assigned a walkie. So that way we can communicate when it needs to happen in real time. I can't email you certain things when it comes to children because it needs to happen now. Like if someone's getting picked up, the walkie is the best way to communicate that. Verbal can work, but it may take me a few minutes to walk over to the other side of the room or walk upstairs, and then it presents coverage issues because we have to communicate while watching the kids. We have email communication, and we communicate through text. We even have a group messaging app where we can communicate with parents and one another. We have a staff group chat that we use. So as a manager, I am working on bringing a better communication to the environment because we struggle with that by using all the different channels at the appropriate times. Okay, thank you guys for listening, and God bless everyone.